Chop it down. Chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Damn, set, watch him throw the ball. Man. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Die.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Die Podcast. I am your host of the Trap or Die Podcast, Mual. In here with the fellas, man. AJ and Dre is in here live. Jay Tizzy, Hawk, Mike Benz, everybody that's in the chat, everybody that's watching live, everybody that's listening. Appreciate y'all checking in as always on the YouTube side, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We definitely appreciate that. Twitch, Twitter, however you watching, man. We definitely appreciate you watching over there. If you can, try to migrate over to that YouTube side. But it don't matter. Whatever way you comfortable watching, it is what it is. Audio side. Hit that follow button. Hit the button, man. You know what time it is. Rating and review. We definitely appreciate that. It takes 10 seconds to do so to show your support. And it's free to do so if you show your support that way. You know what time it is. I think we are good on the administrative items. Fellas, what it do, man? How y'all feeling?
Shit, man. Good. Like, what's funny, Maul? It's having a Thursday game this early in the season. Like, I can't even really enjoy the week one victory like that because I'm already looking forward to the Thursday game against the Packers. Like, I ain't even really thinking about the Giants game no more. I'm already on Green Bay.
Yeah, man, I think it's a beautiful thing. We've been clamoring for Washington football, so to be able to get two games in a matter of days of one another, especially a primetime slot, Thursday night football against the Green Bay Packers, and
first one of the season.
Yeah, see how they looking. Also with their new addition of Micah Parsons, I think it's a pretty dope matchup, and looking forward to it. Hopefully the weather. I don't know what the weather is going to be out there, but I'm hoping that it's clear. Because Sunday was a perfect football weather day overall. I was kind of nervous it was going to rain, but yeah, it held up. It felt beautiful out there. So, yeah, looking forward to Thursday and chopping it up and seeing what's going to happen, what we predicting.
Yeah, you mentioned the weather part. It seems everything going to be straight on Thursday up there. A little cloudy day, but outside of that, it's clear.
Good to be
actually clear skies later. Actually, not so we good.
It's good to be in Lambeau in September and not November and December. So we catching them mid a good time.
Well, I mean, even in September, sometimes they be catching snow. So.
But it ain't no frozen tundra out there.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's true.
Nah, but I'm with you. I'm with y'all. Like it's a great opportunity for Washington. I think especially when you look at a game in Detroit and Green Bay where they essentially like dominated Detroit from start to finish. And like they had their weapons, the Detroit Lions did, offensively and defensively. And it's like, Green Bay said, I don't give a damn about what you got on your mind. Like, we're gonna dominate and we're gonna take care of business the way we know how. So knowing that background and then knowing how Washington handled New York, albeit from a tier standpoint, New York is not even in the same tier as Detroit. It's still like a somewhat of a star-studded opener to Thursday night football on Prime. So let's get into that soon. Actually, I know you missed some time, and as always on Tuesdays, we always close the book on the previous week anyway, with a couple of our last few points. This week is a little different though, Dre. I had a condensed film session. Like I couldn't even. I'm gonna have to save week one notes for after week two. It's just not that much.
Friday.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not that much time for me to put something out during the week unless I write about it, which I might as well just combine the 2 weeks. Anyway, I say that to say, yeah, it's just a condensed time, but let's go ahead and try to spend a few minutes on the Giants or the Commanders' Week 1 performance against the Giants, and then transition to Green Bay. So AJ, like I said, you wasn't here on Sunday. You was at the stadium, but like, what's kind of your thoughts on how they performed? And obviously, you had a couple of days. We all had a couple of days to look at the tape again, look at the game again, and get a little bit more perspective. So, where you at?
Yeah, man, definitely want to say shout out to you guys holding it down on Sunday. While I was on the way back home, I watched the episode, so I was able to hear you guys' viewpoint from the game. What you thought was good, what you thought was bad, what you're hoping might improve. Before I get into my soliloquy, once again, congratulations to Santana for making the Ring of Fame. An amazing weekend. Washington Commanders did an amazing job following through on all of our different requests and just being hospitable to the family, friends, and so on. With the game, actually being there in the mix and seeing it, man, it was a dominant effort given by the defensive line, especially Deron Payne and Javon Kinlaw, but especially Javon Kinlaw. I think that a lot of people aren't aware of who he is as a player, his background, his upbringing. But I think that they will become more familiar, especially with this fan base, how they love guys and their stories. I honestly feel like if Javon can continue to play like how he did Sunday against the Giants, you're looking at an all-pro. And even Deron Payne, if he keeps it up, he's an all-pro as well. Because we know a lot of these accolades go to teams that are winning. So Washington can continue to win, and these guys are dominant up front. It's a game changer for how that defense looks overall. You get to be a bit more sticky on the back end coverage wise with your cornerbacks, your safeties. Linebackers don't have to stress as much. It was a dominant all around effort. Even when the Giants were in the red zone, they dominated there and stopped them, shut them down in any effort that they were trying to get, running, bootleg passes, whatever the case was. So I was highly impressed. As I predicted, I expected the offense to be a little sluggish. It was. I mean, you had a couple drops, you had a couple misses, but you could definitely see that rapport that Deebo Samuel and Jaden Daniels were able to build during training camp and the mini camps and all of those things on full display, whether it be the on-script plays, even the off-script plays. Cliff Kingsbury is happy as hell to get his toy that he's been looking for since he entered the NFL mix in Deebo Samuel. He put it on full display, and I don't even think we've seen all of it yet. And that's kind of why I projected that Deebo will have a bigger impact on this team offensively than Terry McLaurin. No shade to him, because I know a lot of people have certain opinions how I feel about Terry and stuff like that. But he wasn't really present in the game, and that's kind of been the story against the Giants. If I'm not mistaken, he probably has 3 catches against the Giants, maybe in the last 3 games. I could be wrong. Somebody that's watching the show, you can correct me. But overall, solid win. You wanna win to start off the season, but especially against a division foe. And I feel confident about going into Thursday. I think that they'll be sharp, getting those reps out there on the field and everything like that. Should make for a better offensive display on Thursday. And I think defensively, they match up very well with Green Bay's offense.
Yeah, for me, coming out of it, and I got to kind of go with AJ and just reiterating Javon Kinlaw and just what a beast he was in that game. And I know we rightfully talk about Deron Payne, because Deron Payne was active around it. And that's kind of the difference I wanted to note between the two guys. Like, it's great to see Deron Payne go out there and have a great game. But I feel like the difference between the two was while Deron Payne was active and you saw him a lot and, making plays, I felt like Kinlaw was something we've been missing for a long time on this D-line, and that he was disruptive. He was nasty. Like, he was a guy that was like making a difference, like damn near every play that he was out there against the offensive line. And to me, like I said, when I posted this the other day, watching him felt like when we play against Dexter Lawrence or somebody, or one of those like top defensive tackles in the league all those years. And I know we've had like, Jonathan Allen and this reputation that we got this really good offensive line, but I've never seen those guys like really kind of just dominate a game the way Kinlaw kind of dominated that game from the point of attack that whole game. And I'm hoping that's the guy we get going forward, because if you do, like AJ said, this is an all-pro. This is a guy that offenses are going to game plan against. They're going to be scared of this guy. He's going to probably draw even more attention than he's been getting, which is going to free up some more of those guys on the defense. And I just think that he plays at that level. If he continues to play at that level, it just changes the whole landscape of the defense, which already is kind of a scary thought when you think about it because of the coverage that they play. Like, they could play that man coverage, and they got the guys to play that man coverage. So if you got a Kinlaw kind of dominating like that in the middle of that defensive line, it just the possibilities are endless of what this defense can accomplish this year. So that's one of the things that I felt really good about coming out of that game. And one thing to kind of note from the offensive end that I kind of take away was watching Cliff Kingsbury. And I think that a lot of the stuff he was doing was kind of setting up plays, not just for later in the game, but plays that or setting up moments that he can actually use for this year, in other games. Like, I'm thinking about some of those motions that Debo had. A lot of the time they're having Debo in motion, like he's going to get some of those carries, he's going to get some of those screens, but they're using him as a decoy. Pretty soon, defenses are going to stop paying so much attention to Debo, and he's going to get some of these kind of, big plays or explosive plays. I mean, as he got kind of with that touchdown, but I think you're going to see that more. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else Cliff has in store, because some of that stuff that they have was fun. Like, I'm not much of a film guy like Mual. Mual, I know you dissect that stuff and all, but, I kind of watch those things and study some of the tendencies and like, okay, they can do something later, or they're setting things up, or they're running some really creative stuff here. Like, even with Bill, like the stuff you've seen him doing. And Bill just, the vision. I see why a lot of people are excited about this kid, because of what he can do. We already talked about what he could do from like the one cut ability that he has as a running back, but just the vision that he has and the bounce that he has. And, he can see stuff kind of before it's coming, like the safeties crashing down. He already knows to bounce it to the outside, like he did on the one touchdown that he had. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how Cliff continues to kind of use these guys, because right now it does look like he has some fun weapons at their disposal. So that's one of the things, especially going forward, that I'm going to be looking for.
Yeah. So one thing, because I'm reading chat, so I'm gonna say one thing and then circle back to kind of my points. Because I really only watched the defensive line and offensive line. That was kind of my short, streamlined film for week one. But I did get to the Terry play, and I wanted to say because Dre, I was saying, like, I thought he overthrew the dude by 10 yards, but he didn't overthrow.
It wasn't that bad when I looked at it.
And it was a slice, but it was probably like a couple yards. But Jay Tizzy was bringing it up in the chat that if Jaden connected on that one with Terry, then it'd be a different story behind Terry's yardage and production. But I will say I still think Jay Tizzy, like, you worried about the full speed aspect, but part of the actual route in the stem setup was to bait him into the inside route, the inside move. So, like, I don't think Terry did anything wrong, but I do think the chemistry is kind of like they got to build it back up a little bit, Terry and Jaden. So I don't know what that's going to look like in week 2, meaning Thursday. I have no idea, but that's my opinion on the matter. But I did want to say, like, he ain't overthrown him by the amount in which I thought he did on Sunday. The defensive line, there was so many standouts. And I think what confuses me is like it was so good up front, that I don't know, like just how bad I don't know just how bad the Giants offensive line was. Like it was like it was like such an impressive performance coming out of the gate in your opener that you can't help but be super optimistic moving forward, right? You're talking about how everybody up front had a dog mentality in terms of I'm about to dominate the guy in front of me, but I'm not playing selfish, right? I'm playing team ball. I'm going to make sure that like when Javon Kinlaw, like his superpower is his play strength, his functional strength. And he has moments where like he's unstoppable as your 3-tech, right? They're moving him across the line. And I think for a person like that, like a move piece like Kinlaw at his size, you can find mismatches just like you can look at Micah Parsons, or even against Washington, you could look at how they utilize Abdul Carter. They use him as a stand-up linebacker. They use him as your edge rusher on the left side. The right side, they use him as their 3-tech. It's the same thing with Javon Kinlaw and how Washington used him, although not from a linebacker standpoint, right? Like, but just a move piece on that defensive line. And I think his ability to just use his brute strength, his raw strength, because like I'm not sure, like watching him throughout the game, I'm not sure like he's a super technical guy. Like he understands hand usage, but like his actual play in terms of just I'm gonna make this the most difficult matchup you ever had on this rep. Like that's what really gets him in the backfield. And like his closeout speed, his physicality at the quarterback, like. I'm surprised that Russell Wilson didn't even get concussed when he smacked him. Yeah, when he smacked him in that I think the third quarter hit. Like he had a full head of steam going at Russell Wilson, and like I saw his head on the all-22 just bounce on the ground, and he just got right back up. I'm like, bro, like I don't understand you, bro. But then you look at Deron Payne. I think like his isolated matchups were impressive as well. And I think like I really had to do some self-evaluation. Like, is this really one of the best games that I saw from Deron Payne like in his career? Like, that's the question that I had after I watched his tape. And I think from Washington's standpoint, there was just a couple errors, but I thought remember, I'm talking about the offensive line, defensive line. I really didn't pay too much attention to the secondary or even the receivers on the offensive side of the ball. But like when I'm talking about errors in terms of like their line games, their twist games, they'd either like not have the timing down all the way, which means what I mean by that is like when it's time for one person to loop, it either be a second too soon or a second too late, or like they'd even trip over each other. And that's how Russell Wilson got out of the pocket. Like that's how Russell Wilson got his scrambles. Some of his scrambles, not every one, but like that aspect in terms of getting their timing down when they start running these line games are something that's important. I think one of the other scrambles that was big too is like they did a really good job collapsing the pocket against Russ. But then you look at like Eddie Goldman, who I thought had a really solid game in his reps, right? Just one split moment where he's controlling the B gap as your 3 technique, and he flashes from as a rusher from that gap to the A gap, and as soon as he moves from the B gap to the A gap trying to win inside, which he's not even athletic or quick enough to do, Russell Wilson darts through, gets him like 10 11 yards on the scramble. So like those small mistakes where it's like you think that you can make that play, and like Russell Wilson quickly shows you like if you fuck up, I'm about to make you pay for it. Like that was kind of the small moments on the defensive line where I thought like these guys can do a little bit better moving forward, especially against more athletic quarterbacks. But overall, like when you're talking about keeping your linebackers clean, allowing them to manipulate the offensive linemen, right? Like these guys from the second level had a really solid day, and they had a lot to do with the play from Kinlaw, Payne, Dietrich Wise. Von Miller has some reps where he won on the edge, but Russell Wilson is dumping the ball off. So like you get a quarterback who's going to hold the ball a little bit longer, or a little bit indecisive. Like you're going to have a person like Von Miller. That's where his impact is really going to be felt. So I'll pause there. I don't know if y'all got any additional comments for the defense.
Well, I was going to kind of just ask you all, judging from their defensive performance going forward, like I said, it's week 1, so it's hard to kind of make big.
I don't owe Chris Moore shit. I'm sorry.
Moneyball's
like
funny.
He always comes to my neck, bro. Pause. Like that's just
me too. But Moneyball, you owe Trey Amos an apology, bro, because you said he struggled on Sunday, and that couldn't be further from the truth. He may have had 1 or 2 plays that he could have won it back.
Moneyball always right, bro.
Apology, Moneyball. But no, I was going to ask you all, how do you feel like, judging from the defensive performance, because we know the defense was the big question mark, the big mystery that going into the season, everyone's like, what are they going to do? And as I had kind of proposed last week, that this could be a statement game, not even from a defensive standpoint, but from a team standpoint going forward. Like what they do in this game, I believe it'll kind of affect my confidence level in the team kind of going forward for the rest of the season. I feel like what I watched on Sunday gave me confidence in the team. Like, oh, they are ready. And they showed some things that not just because of the opponent, but I thought they showed some translatable things that's going to carry over for, their other games, especially when you talk about how the offensive line kind of handled the defensive line, even though they gave up a few sacks there, but they were never like something that I felt like was disruptive to Washington. So I wanted to ask you all, how do you feel, or what's your confidence level after that game? Like, are you confident because of the performance, or do you think they still have something to prove to you all?
I mean, I think it's going to sound cliche, but as an NFL player, every time you step out on that field, you got something to prove. It's not too many guys that have the type of contracts where you can just get away with a lackluster performance. I just think that they did what they're supposed to do against that level of offense and competition. I think that this group has continuity. They have a good rapport with one another. I watched the interview Brian Colbert did with Daron Payne, and I believe that he said that he learned some things from Javon Kinlaw, which is just, play to your strength and be a physical presence out there. And I think that guys are realizing that, like even Mual alluded to, Javon Kinlaw doesn't have like a bunch of moves, but he's just a straight dog. He just got overall strength that a lot of people walking this earth just don't have. And at the end of the day, sometimes you can get away with that without having to be necessarily a technician. So I think that the real competition, honestly, for fans is not going to come until they play the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's a long time from now,
like
bro.
It's a long time, but I mean, in their eyes, everybody else is just like another game as far as like overall matchup. When you talk about like offensive line and skilled players going against that defense, I don't think it's going to matter as much until they go against a team that they lost to end up getting a berth in the Super Bowl, because everyone is looking at Philadelphia from their offensive line play to Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and so on. But I think if they can continue to play like they did with the great rotation, Dietrich Wise, Johnny Newton doing his thing, Eddie Goldman getting opportunities, Von Miller, Frankie Louvu, all these different guys, they can continue to rush and attack these offenses as a group, because that's what it really boils down to is not guys like doing their own things, is rushing as a unit. And I believe that they have a great relationship, and that's why you were able to see them fly to the ball. Like they were getting after it. Like it was intense. I haven't seen that in a while from a defensive line unit as a whole. Also forgot to mention Doris Armstrong. Like they literally were flying to the ball. Like it was like the comfortability of knowing they know the system in and out. Like I think it just has them playing at a faster level than even last year. on top of
Yeah.
adding new guys into the mix.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you mentioned Dorrance because I forgot to mention, like, I think he's ascending.
Yeah.
I didn't really see it last year with him. I told y'all that, like, I ain't see shit in them 6 sacks that he got in Dallas. But and then last year, like, he came on strong towards the end of the year in terms of like his actual ability to make an impact. And like what I saw against the Giants again, that's why I have that like overlying question: like, was the Giants just that bad, or were they really up front? Was they really like some dogs? Like, and that can really be a problem moving forward. Like, that's how good they were up front. And Dorrance Armstrong, I think, had 8 or 9 pressures around that number against the Giants by himself. So, yeah, for sure, Dorrance Armstrong is somebody that needs to be mentioned. And your question, so I can answer that, and we can get to Green Bay. I forgot the question that you asked, Trey.
No, it was basically like, did the Giants game give you confidence going forward? Like, yeah, they kind of proved something to me this week that they could do this going forward, or do you feel like they still have a lot more to prove against better opponents, so to speak?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I still think they got more to prove. But I'm extremely optimistic, like, that this is more real than it is like just the Giants. I think what they did from a collective, because, like, one more thing, like, yes, I did focus on defensive line, but like in moments I zoom out to see like how was the back end playing on this play. So like there's moments where like they really are from a coverage standpoint down to that front seven and those rushers, like they was strapping. They was strapping, bro. Like they was really strapping. And like I was like the people on the radio saying Russ looked like he ain't got it. Russ looked confused. Russ looked like he ready to get benched. I'm telling you, bro. Like when I look at Washington side, there was some moments sure that Russ, like a Joe Burrow, could have fired some shit off, and it could have been a completion, right? But like the level of degree, I mean the difficulty level to get a pass off like a Joe Burrow would to get it completed. Like it would have been a Joe Burrow level or Pat Mahomes level throw. Where it's like, oh my god, like he locked in type shit. Russ, bro, no, bro. Like they was really strapping, bro, and that's why I'm like, I gotta see this a couple more times because this shit right here, man.
But what's crazy is like some Giants fans felt like Jackson Dart would have did better. Like if Jackson Dart would have played, that defense would have had 3 picks. Because like he wouldn't have known what to do. Like and that was just a mild day from Joe Witt. Joe Witt ain't even really dial it up heavily like that. He just let the front go eat. You feel me?
But see, that's my point, AJ. Like, and the reason why I feel so good coming out of this game, and to Maul's point about the secondary, like those guys, what they were doing to Malik Neighbors. I mean, Malik Neighbors still has 6 catches for 71 yards, but everything was hard for Malik Neighbors outside of that one play against Quan Martin. What makes me think that those guys can't go out there and do the same thing to Green Bay's wide receivers? I mean, coming up, those guys, they don't have a Malik Neighbors. They have some pretty decent wide receivers, but what they did to a Malik Neighbors makes me feel good that they can do this against damn near anybody in the league.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
So you got the ad. Don't forget what you got to say. I just want to make sure. Let's get the ad break because we getting into Green Bay right now. So let's go ahead and get the ad break out of the way. AJ, you got it on the other side of things. So let's go ahead and talk about them boys over here at Underdog Fantasy. Listen, football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. So look, it's Thursday, so I had to make the play already, right? I had to make the play already. This week I'm looking at a 6-pick play. Listen to me. 6 picks. Put a little 5 down, win a little Honda, might be all right. So I'm going higher on Dontavian Wicks receiving yards, 26.5. I'm going higher on Deebo Samuel receptions, 4.5. I'm going higher on Tucker Kraft receptions, 3.5. Dre, what's dude's name? The Giants tight end, the dude who had like 3 drops.
The kid from
Theo, right?
Theo Johnson.
Theo Johnson. Okay, yeah. Tucker ain't gonna drop 2 or 3 of them Jones. So we're gonna make sure that Tucker will probably get like 5 catches this game. I'm guaranteeing that. Josh Jacobs. We're gonna go higher than 59.5 rushing yards on Josh Jacobs. Jaden Daniels, this is the one. Higher than 1.5 touchdowns. He's gonna have at least 2 touchdowns on the day through the air. And then Austin Eckler, 60 yards total against the Giants. We're gonna go higher on his receiving and rushing yards at 43.5. So again, Dontavian Wicks higher than 26.5 receiving yards. Deebo Samuel higher, 4.5 receptions. Tucker Kraft higher, 3.5 receptions. Higher on Josh Jacobs rushing yards, 59.5. 1.5 passing touchdowns higher on Jaden Daniels, and then higher on Austin Eckler's rushing and receiving yards at 43.5. Download the app today and sign up with promo code TrapperDive to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Trap or Dive. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
To be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
All right, let's get back to it. AJ, you did have the floor. Dre, you was asking him a question. We are getting to the Packers side of things now, so let's go ahead and start talking ball, man. You're gonna have to refresh the question though. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot.
I mean, I think I was just gonna finish up with just saying, like, the same way that Russell Wilson was rattled, they can get Jordan Love rattled as well. You know, I like Jordan Love as a quarterback, but he's also known to give you opportunities to flip the field. Not necessarily the greatest under pressure. So I think that this defense can still, you know, do what they need to do. And Dan Quinn said, you know, weeks before, you know, week 1 took place, that they already had their game plan in place for Green Bay. So it's not like, you know, they're going into this Thursday matchup with the game plan just being created on Monday or today. It's been done long in advance. I mean, you kind of know the scouting report on the guys that they have, whether they be rookies or new additions. I mean, yeah, now you got to account for Micah Parsons, but you are very familiar with how to go about defending those wide receivers, the quarterback, the running back, the offensive line, and then those cornerbacks on Green Bay side. Yeah, I mean, it could be a long day for him if Cliff really gets the opportunity to get in his bag. So yeah, I mean, I'll allow us to hop into the next segment, but that's really what I was going to touch on. I feel like the same way Russell Wilson was rattled is the same way that Jordan Love can get rattled Thursday night on Amazon Prime.
So the Packers ended up beating the Lions 27-13. Late into the game, they were up 27-6. I don't know just how. I mean, it was clearly a bad day for the Lions. But in terms of like the Green Bay Packers and their effectiveness, I think their defense played a large part. But like, where are we at? I mean, I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the full game. Afterwards, I hadn't had a chance to. I'm about to actually try to watch it tomorrow. But like, where are we at in terms of like the actual opponent? Like, their defense, I think, is as obvious. Like Gary and Parsons, those are the main two that you worry about, right? Who's the other dude? The other rusher, like Van Ness. Van Ness is a young guy who's a good change of pace guy. But like this is a offense who, you know, they had some changes on their offensive line, but like the one consistency or two consistencies is just Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs. Those receivers are like a mixed bag, but like they don't have a true number one or let alone like a number two, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where, Washington gets to really test out their back end, but also getting home to the quarterback. I think all of those things are connected. So many times we put an emphasis on the back end not doing their job, but if the front four does a great job, that also helps the back end. Like you said, the Packers have a great mix of wide receivers from Romeo Doubs and Jalen Reed to add in Matthew Golden, also Christian Watson. So you got a variation of guys. Some are speedsters, some are twitchy guys out the slot or whatever the case is. I think that Washington has a good enough cornerback room that they can, test those guys out and match up with them well. I think where Washington's offense can successfully win against Green Bay is up the gut. I think that they can get in between those gaps and really be creative, because I think that Green Bay, just from even watching a little bit of the Lions matchup, they have enough speed on their defense to go sideline to sideline with you, especially now adding Micah Parsons. Another guy on Green Bay who was pretty solid is Edgerrin Cooper. He plays linebacker for the Packers. He can run sideline to sideline. He's also a good blitzer. Then in the back end, you have Xavier McKinney still back there who can defend the running backs out of the backfield. Also, your tight end. But I just think that my game plan against the New York Giants was going vertical against that unit, which they did quite often. But I think in this particular matchup, now losing Kenny Clark and adding in a Micah Parsons, you can either attack Micah Parsons' side in the run game, but also up the gut. There's a big gap missing there as far as being able to stop the run. I just think that them boys was flying to the ball as well in Green Bay. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 catches for like 30 yards?
30 yards, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, they got some speed on that defensive side of the ball. I just think that it's going to be an overall great matchup, man. I'm looking forward to it. I think that the run game will predicate a lot for this offense. Maybe this is the game where you see 4 running backs active.
Hold on. Did we switch to our offense yet?
I thought we were talking about the matchup in general.
Oh, Dre, did you talk?
Am I tripping?
No, I don't know.
I mean, yeah,
I'm go ahead, bro.
Look, I'll talk about the defense. Well, at least from my standpoint. I mean, I do think that the key to this game is going to be making Jordan Love uncomfortable. When I've seen Jordan Love at his worst is when you get him to start throwing off his back foot, which he has a tendency to do as soon as he feels that pressure. He'll throw off that back foot. He'll throw that ball up for grabs. This is where a guy like Quan Martin could come in and make a big impact in this game. If the defensive line could be disruptive, they can get to Jordan Love. I want to see Quan Martin kind of step into that playmaking role. You may see the cornerbacks make some plays because I do think that the Green Bay wide receivers may test the depth of the Washington cornerback, so to speak, whereas you were looking at Malik Neighbors. So when you're talking about the Giants, even though Wan'Dale Robinson was kind of eating in the slot, but that was kind of when they were sitting in zones, he was finding good spots in the zones. But when you're talking about going man to man, yeah, now they do have a lot of wide receivers. Like as a wide receiver group as a whole, Green Bay, yes, they have better guys than the New York Giants. But when you're talking about who has the best wide receiver by far of the group, that's a Malik Neighbors, and they were able to contain a Malik Neighbors pretty well. So my thinking is if they can do that to a Malik Neighbors, they should be able to kind of handle their own against the Green Bay Packers wide receivers. And also the Green Bay Packers wide receivers, damn near all of them, if I'm not mistaken, like Golden, Reed, Romeo Doubs, I think it was Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson, but either way, all of those guys were on the injury report this week. Some of those guys were limited practice. So you got to kind of wonder how that's going to affect them guys going into Thursday, if they're going to be limited, if they're not going to be up to full speed, that gives Washington probably even more of an advantage on those corners. But again, it's going to start in the trenches. We're going to have to see Javon Kinlaw come up big. But I'm confident because, again, we talked about the gap integrity. These guys actually rushing as a unit. I look back at the Chase Young years when we were kind of complaining that these guys aren't in unison on the defensive line. I'm confident that these guys, they all play with discipline, especially when you add a veteran like a Dietrich Wise, when you got the Eddie Goldmans and, Kinlaw's a veteran at this point, Payne's a veteran, Von Miller, all of these guys, I think that's going to show up on Thursday, and that's going to be the key. Because again, you're going to have to make Jordan Love uncomfortable, because once he gets uncomfortable, like AJ said, he is prone to making mistakes and turnovers. So that's, to me, going to be the key of the game. One of my keys to the game last week against the Giants was creating turnovers. We didn't create any turnovers, even though Quan got one taken from him, and one was kind of questionable with that fumble. But this game, they're going to have to create turnovers. On that road, they're going to have to flip momentum in this game. And I do think this is the game to go out there and create some turnovers.
Before I go, we mentioned some injuries. We mentioned some inactive players in practice. Zach Ertz, John Jones, Marshawn Lattimore, Von Miller, Deron Payne, Laramie Tunsil, all of those guys were DNPs on Tuesday, but they were rest days. They were not really due to injury. Jaden Daniels was on the injury list.
Was he really throwing with his left hand, like Moneyball said? I didn't see that.
He had a couple passes that they caught on video, but he was fine. Like even Dan Quinn said in his pressure, like it's a non-issue. He's not concerned. Okay. But they did have to put him down. Full participant in practice. That ought to tell you he ain't in fucking practice throwing with his left hand all day.
I missed it, so I was like, okay.
Yeah. Dietrich Wise as well, Noah Brown, Austin Eckler injury report, John Bates injury report. But they all practice in some capacity. We have Jaden Reed, Quay Walker, Matthew Golden on the injury report for the Packers. Micah Parsons as well, dealing with the back thing. But he had 30 snaps against the Lions, so that ought to tell you like he's fine. They got a couple offensive linemen on there. Zach Torn, and where's the other guy? Oh, those are defensive linemen. Yeah, Zach Torn is the offensive lineman, but defensive lineman, Baron Sorrell, Brenton Cox, and then Nate Hobbs is a cornerback, secondary guy, and then Jordan Love. He has his thumb thing, but I think he's been dealing with the thumb since preseason, so that is what it is. So it's a long injury list for both sides. I'll save y'all the trouble, even though I went through most of it. Y'all can look at that online. I think for Washington, turnovers though was definitely something where they were real adamant about like producing in the offseason, like producing the football. And yeah, like you go a whole game, like you did force a fumble, but you didn't recover it. And then you did have opportunity to get an interception, and it was called back. But I think this is one of those moments where like you have to find a way to start practicing what you preach. Like, and I know sometimes and more times than not, like it is a thing of chance. And the fact that you got all those pressures, we talked about this after the game, Dre. You get all these pressures, but 2 sacks. It's pressures do they can change the outcome of a play, but getting home is just as good, like if not better. Like you're forcing them to like either you're getting them off the field or you're knocking them back and down a distance. So you got to find a way to get home and actually impact the play by finishing the play. And I think that's kind of one of the things that I think is going to be important on that side of the football, because you look at Micah Parsons, you look at Rashad Gary, they can move these guys wherever they want to, right? And I think what we haven't discussed yet is the idea that those 2 guys in particular will have their matchups against Brandon Coleman and and Josh Connolly. And I
You
think
mean Tunsil?
No, Brandon Coleman
Oh,
and
okay.
Josh Connolly. Like they'll have their matchups. Like I don't think either one of them are going to line 100% up outside the tackle. Like some will get their interior rushes. And I think for both of those guys, like against the Giants, somebody in the YouTube comments, I was talking to him after our show on Sunday, and they were saying that Josh Connolly had a bad game.
It was Moneyball.
He started off saying he got baptized. And I think that he did, but not from a negative sense. I think that they actually allowed him to have these one-on-one matchups for the most part, and then occasional chip help. But it wasn't like a dominant game where it's 100% chip help like you saw last year every single week. And I think for Connolly, like that speed is actually playing a big part in terms of how he's influencing his pass sets. And I think the power sometimes is catching them off guard too. So like it's not just either one, it's both. But it's not like he's struggling every single rep. It's just like these guys are really good. The pass rushers he's going up against are really good. And like you're going up against a new style now where like Micah Parsons is one of the fastest in the NFL, if not the fastest NFL. Like shit, he even said when he was talking about Jaden, like I don't think I ever seen no quarterback beat me to the sideline. And he said that after practice, I guess today. So like I just think when you talk about these two younger guys, it's important for them to bring their A game in a big spot for the offense, but a big spot for them, because if you allow Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary to take over the game on that side of the ball, it's going to be hard to get success in the passing game, generally speaking, but more specifically with this team, because like I just think that the Packers defense, they're opportunistic just as much as we want to be. And that's kind of the big deal, especially if you have those two that I mentioned and that we know about on that defensive front.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to Josh Connolly, it's a hell of an introduction into the NFL. You're going against a Brian Burns. Now this week, Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons. Then next week, Max Crosby. So, we got to be mindful that he's also switching from playing left tackle to right tackle. So, I didn't think he got like punished or whatever. I mean, I thought it was
I thought he had a solid game.
Yeah, I thought it was a fair debut for him, primarily being a right tackle. It's no problem if you need to provide chip help. I mean, a lot of teams don't have a great left tackle and right tackle. There's very few teams in the NFL that can boast that they have like a Lane Johnson on one side and the Jordan Mailata on the other. So, okay, you got to provide chip help. It's all part of football. Some matchups are going to be more favorable than others, and where Josh Connolly kind of struggles is with those guys that can bend speedsters. Rashawn can do both. Micah can do both. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm not really concerned about the offensive line. If anything, I feel like the main way to attack the Green Bay defense is going to be straight up the gut. And also being able to be productive in the run game, they can get into play action game much more with Debo and
must be a teaser.
With Debo and Terry McLaurin. Moneyball, were you at the game on Sunday? I mean, I told you, Dre, and Mual privately how someone who was an avid watcher of the show came up to me at the game. I didn't get their name, but I would love to have Moneyball come on one day. We need to put face to these comments.
But I heard what Jay Gruden said about the chip help. And I don't know if he necessarily meant that as a knock on Connolly, so to speak. I just think he's looking at this Green Bay matchup like they know where they're going to attack Washington. If they want to attack anywhere in that Washington offensive line, you're going to go with the most inexperienced guy on that line, and that's right now Josh Connolly. I mean, now I think he had a pretty solid game, but yeah, there were some mistakes against the Giants. I mean, these were mistakes that I do think are correctable, but you're going against Micah Parsons. Now, the Giants' defensive line, they have obviously a great defensive line. We talked about it all summer. You got to watch out for these guys. But the Giants don't have a Micah Parsons anywhere in that defensive line. Like Micah Parsons is probably one of the best 2 to 3 pass rushers in the whole NFL. So yeah, you know where they're gonna put him at because Tunzel is solid. Like Tunzel, we didn't hear his name called. I don't think we heard his name called once on Sunday, which is a great thing. He locked his side down. But like I said, if you're going to look for that weakness, you're going to go to that right side of the line, not even just because of Josh Connolly. You got Nick Allegretti over there because Sam Cosmi's out for the first couple of weeks. So if there's a vulnerability, that's where you're going to exploit that. So, yes, I do hope they have Chip help. John Bates may have to play a lot of snaps in this game. But, I mean, overall, as offensive line, I do think the game plan has to be kind of similar to what I thought the game plan was kind of going to be for the Giants. I don't think they necessarily leaned on the run a lot in this game, but the run was the most successful thing in this game for the most part. I mean, you got over 200 yards rushing in this game. Now, obviously, Jaden accounts for a lot of that, but when you're talking about going up against a defensive line like Green Bay, which you kind of talked about with the Giants defensive line, you want to attack those guys where they're weak at. Like they're great at pass rushing. They're great at getting at the quarterback, but you want to make them vulnerable. You want to make them kind of think twice about having to go at the quarterback. So I think you're going to have to lean on the run game a lot more. I think you're going to have to lean on some of those read options. This is where Debo may actually get more active in the run game because I think Debo only had one carry, and that was for the touchdown on Sunday. So yeah, I think you're going to see him probably get more active. This may even be a game where, as AJ was saying, you have 4 running backs active, and Chris Rodriguez gets in the game, and gets some carries. But what I want to see this week, I want to see more Bill. I'm sorry, I think Bill needs to be seen a lot more, man, because every time he touches the ball, he's impressive. He had 10 carries for 82 yards, 8.2 yards per carry, which obviously was, exaggerated with the 42-yard carry. But I want to see this guy get at least 15 to 16 carries this week. Not even just carries. I want to see him in a screen game too. I want to see what he does with the ball at open field. So I do hope he's more actively involved in this game.
Moneyball said we didn't address Jaden's inaccuracies, few throws of inaccuracies yet. Are we concerned? I have no reason to be concerned after the first game of the season. It does help if your receivers catch the passes that were thrown to them. That's one thing that is important at the very least. But at the same time, am I concerned about them? No. It's nothing to make a story out of just yet, but I would acknowledge that it's a big deal that it doesn't continue, and it should be something that you go into week 2 and it's like, all right, well, either one of these guys, whether it's the quarterback or the receiver, hopefully both, that they actually step their game up and they're a little bit more on point from start to finish throughout the season. throughout the game. So it's not a big deal to me, Money.
I mean, but you
it's something that you notice it, but you don't have to. I'm not going to dwell on it.
I mean, Jaden's an accurate quarterback. That's one of his better traits overall. But we got to be mindful. He hasn't thrown the ball against real live bullets. That was the first time. When he played in the preseason, they ain't throw the ball. It just is what it is. So, I mean, it's expected from week 1 football. That's why it's some teams may look dominant week 1, and then as the season goes, you start to see who the real players are in this league. And I don't think you can really judge that until after the trade deadline. But I mean, not concerned about a couple passes missed. No quarterback is perfect. Even whoever you think is the best of all time had some inaccurate passes. It happens. You feel me? So I'm not concerned. It's not like it was lame ducks. It's not like he was out there looking like Sam Hartman or something.
But let's trust Jaden. Like let's just do that. Remember the first game of the season last year against the Buccaneers? That was probably, well, it wasn't his worst professional game, but we came away from that game like, oh man, the guy looks like he has potential, but at the same time he's playing hero ball, like he's doing too much out on the football field. Next week, he looked like a complete different quarterback, even though you didn't score any touchdowns that next week in that next game, but you saw that he was something different than he was in that first week. Then the third week, he was even better than the second week, and that's when he kind of blew up on the scene. So I'm going to give Jaden a pass. Like, I'm not even going to kind of go down that road that, oh, man, this may be a concern or something I have to worry about, because he's such a quick adjuster, and sometimes guys just don't always start out at peak form. I mean, Jaden said that, in his press conference, he said, you're obviously not going to be in peak form, but he also looked frustrated. Like that whole press conference on Sunday, I went back and watched the interviews, the press conference. He looked frustrated. Like, I know I left things out on the field, and that's a guy that I just trust that's going to get it right. Like, he's shown me that he gets it right and that he adjusts. So I'm not going to worry about it until it becomes a consistent problem. But I just don't foresee it being a consistent thing.
All right. So let's do a couple stat projections, and then our score predictions. We gotta get back into the groove of things. Is it score predictions and we predict our MVPs too? That's what we did.
That's right. Yeah. It's game preview, right? So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I forget if we did. I know we did score predictions, but all right. So we're gonna do MVPs.
We did.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, because I think we missed that last week. I don't think we did everything.
No, we did. Anyway. We did everything last week.
Yeah, I feel like I said Jaden was gonna be MVP.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
I felt like I said Debo was.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. I think we're straight then. All right. Here we go. Jaden Daniels and Jordan Love, they are at 226 and a half passing yards. Are they going over or under that total?
Over.
For both?
I think that Jaden goes over and Jordan is under.
I got over for both.
Okay. I think I'm at over for both as well. Josh Jacobs, and let's go with, so Ja'Cory is the one with the most. Okay. All right, so Josh Jacobs is at 78 and a half rushing yards. Chad, y'all can chime in too for sure. I see you, JT. You said over for both quarterbacks. Josh Jacobs is at 78 and a half rushing yards. We're going over or under that number. See, this is where the test come in with that defensive line. Because Josh Jacobs, he had total. He going tote.
Yeah, I'm going under.
Under.
78.
If he's over and Love is over, that's a dominant day for Green Bay.
I'm going to say under for Josh.
You are doing the right math, Dre. Yeah, I don't see Green Bay dominating. So I'm gonna go under.
Fantasy league, but under for my family. God damn.
Okay, Hawk said, all right, yeah, that's what Hawk just said. JT said under on Jacobs. I think I said under if I didn't make it clear. I don't know. Bill Merritt, he's at 42 and a half.
Over.
He's under.
Okay.
And I say under because, like I said, them boys got speed. So his main thing is getting to the outside. So I just really don't see him having a huge day. Maybe he still gets a touchdown, close to the goal line. But, yeah, I think a lot of people aren't aware of who Packers defensive players are. But they got speed. They got legit speed on the field. Even another guy I didn't mention, because they play like somewhat of a 3-4. Quay Walker from Georgia.
Yeah, quite tough. Middle line.
Tough. Like, yeah, bro. Like, I just think people not familiar with their players. But, yeah, I can't see him getting over 42.
I'm going to say over. I don't think it'll be easy, but yeah. I honestly think where I'm torn at, though, is like I don't think they're going to just completely disregard Austin after one game. No. Like, and when I say completely, I mean like have Bill become the bell cow. Yeah, so like that's where I'm torn at. I think it's very much Austin is very much capable of like getting over 40 more than Bill can get over 40. Like somebody's going to get over 40.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's going to be Austin because I mean. Austin is short and stocky, bro. Like he's built like Debo in a sense. Like short, stocky guys. He can take I don't even. Nah, he can run up the middle. Let me. I was about to say.
I mean, you was about to say, yeah, you was gonna say some wild shit. I already know
yeah.
where it was leading. All right, let's go. A couple receivers. Let's do Terry McLaurin. Over or under 55.5 receiving yards.
Bounce back game over.
I say over, due to have any cornerbacks.
I say over as well. Jaden Reed, 41.5.
Over.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go over.
Yeah, it's either him or Romeo Dobbs. I'm gonna say under on Jaden. But I would say Romeo Dobbs probably gets over that 40 number. And Deebo Samuel, 53.5.
He's over.
I say over too.
I'm gonna say under. I think he has more rush yards this game.
Okay. All right, so that is where we will leave it. Okay. Let's get to our score predictions. Oh, let me read the chat. My bad. Under for Bill, J Tizzy said Green Bay has a top 10 rush defense. Quay Walker, Edge Cooper, the LBs. Over for 17, over for Reed, over for Debo. Okay. All right, let's get into our score predictions. Let's get into our MVP. Who wants to take the floor first?
I'll take the floor. I think that Thursday is going to be a good game. National TV. I think that you'll get to see an expansion of that relationship and rapport that Jaden and Debo exhibited on Sunday. I think that Debo goes on to be the MVP of this game as well from an offensive standpoint. And defensively, I'm gonna have to give it to Javon Kinlaw and Deron Payne again. Or I guess we could say the entire defensive line. I think that Von Miller also gets active in this game as well. And it makes it chaotic for Jordan Love. Score-wise, I'll say 27-13.
Okay.
Washington.
Hey man, I like the prediction. I hope it's right, but I actually think this is going to be a good close game. I think this is going to be one of those really good Thursday night games. With the matchups, especially after watching like Baltimore and Buffalo. And this is a game. If I call the Giants game a statement game, I do think this is your first kind of litmus test of the season because Green Bay is kind of talked about as a Super Bowl favorite this year in the NFC. We are obviously in that conversation. So this is the game that measures up. So I think this is going to be a clash in a sense. But at the end of the day, I do have us winning 30-24. I think we have the better quarterback. That's not a knock on Jordan Love. I just think Jaden Daniels is the better quarterback. And I think this is an ascending defense. And I do think that they have the experience to go into a Lambeau Field to beat those guys. And my MVP of the game is going to be a guy I mentioned that's the key of the game earlier. And I think he has a good game. I think he flips possession at one point in the game. And that's Quan Martin. I'm going with Quan Martin, MVP of the game.
While I don't think Washington holds Green Bay to 13 points, I do think they get the dub. 27-20. I think Washington goes into Lambeau and get their first dub since what? I thought I heard 1988.
Wow, it's been that long?
Yeah, I think that's the last time they won in Lambeau. It's been a little minute. But yeah, 27-20. The offense looks very smooth. And like it's another game where you put on the map and like that boy Deebo Samuel, like, oh, he ain't fat no more. Like all that talk, whatever talk that you had, you on a national display now, you get to see how dumb the conversation was to begin with. So yeah, 27-20 is the score. My MVP. Honestly, when you go into games like this and you got to get a dub, I ain't going to stray away from the quarterback. So I'm going to say Jaden Daniels is the MVP for me. Cool G. 27-13 at Lambeau. I just Lord Jesus, I didn't even realize. Appreciate the contribution, man, and the support. I see you just a super fan, bro. You might need to go watch some more of our film. Oh, he a Packer fan. He a Packer fan.
I respect it. I respect it.
Fuck your contribution.
Hey, bro, I ain't even know that. Cool.
I respect it, man. I respect it.
I respect.
He a Packers fan, man. He don't like the Heat blowing him out, man.
You know what you gotta do.
A black man that ain't never stepped foot in Green Bay. I got you. Because I know you black. You call yourself Cool G.
You never know, bro. But look, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Cool. Appreciate you checking in. I know you probably just want some.
Cool G, bring your ass back here. Are we doing a post game?
Yeah, we doing a post game.
Trapper Dive late night. Trapper Dive late night. We back.
I'm off on Friday, AJ. So we up.
I might have.
Hey, I'm going to the store getting that yak. You know, I may be passed off on the yak, but I'm still going.
I might have some company, some female company come on Trapper Dive late night. We gonna do a little Shay and Ocho. We gonna club Shay.
Tell her to bring some friends, man. I'll come over.
If she know how to talk, Dre is hilarious, bro. If she know how to talk ball, bro, put her on the camera. But if she don't know how to do that, man, keep her in the kitchen. Bro.
Nah, I wouldn't embarrass myself like that. So yeah. I'm thinking about pulling up. Well, yeah, I won't say it on here. I'll tell y'all probably.
Smart man. All right, hey, Trapper Dive late night Thursday night. Cool G, pop back up when we get the dub.
Ain't try and get shot in these streets by Cool G, you know.
All 32 is back tomorrow, 7:00. And then until next time, we may have a player on next week, by the way. So keep that in mind. That'll be cool. Have a player on during the season. But yeah, until next time, man, y'all take it easy. All that good stuff. We about here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Peace. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. Now we do it.
Chop it down. Chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Damn, set. Watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trapper Dive.